I don't know if any of you travel to Asia, but this is what you have to expect. Welcome everyone and back on Laughing Museums. My name is Cedric and you're watching Laughing Museums. Thank you so much for doing that. I am still finishing my book on history of painting, and I was thinking I should say a word of what's happening in Asia. Two things brought me to that. The first one is that maybe you know that, but the Chinese government lately have been trying to link the history of the Chinese civilization, which is already quite fantastic and very old, from 4,000 years old to 5,000 years old. Why? Because apparently there was official trip to Egypt, and Egyptian civilization is 5,000 years old, as well as the Sumerian civilization, making it the oldest civilization on the planet. And so the Chinese government decided that China should be also one of the oldest civilizations on the planet. And to do such a thing, they decided to link it to some discovery of traces of civilization, especially the Xia dynasty. Han Sheng, who's, and I'm going to put a portrait of Han Sheng right there because she's fantastic, and her book as well. Han Sheng was a fantastic teacher, could have thought a doctor, in her history of China. She's leading the chair here in France at the Collège de France. And she thinks, of course, it's completely false, it's completely impossible. And basically, the history of Egypt is starting 3000 BC, let's say the early third thousand before our time, when China is starting around 2000, let's say 2050, around our era, which is making a 4,000 year civilization. Talking about that, I don't really care about that. But it makes me think about Chinese painting, and I haven't said anything about it. I've spent 10 days in Beijing, a little bit around Beijing, to see the Great Wall as well. There was a fantastic trip when I see some contemporary exhibit as well. But here I'm talking about old civilization, as the sun is starting today. The day is starting, and that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm here by the beach because I wanted to talk mostly about landscape, right? And what is happening in today. But first we're going to talk about, and I promise to remember that, but of course, okay, Kukai-Chi. Every people interested more or less into art history will read the book by Gombrich. When you read the book by Gombrich, the first example he's taking is the 4th century of this era painter Kukai-Chi. Kukai-Chi, who made this super duper famous painting that you can see if you're lucky sometime at the British in London. And that is a moral painting about a man giving a lesson to his wife, and I'm putting it right here, of course, because she's done something, but apparently she didn't do it, so he just thought she was doing it, whatever, kind of a moral idea, because the government is a chapter of my book. Politicians are always using art to control the moral, which is part of civilization. There's nothing crazy about it. That's just how it is, how it's been. And the funny thing is, and I think it's true, either you want to do it as an artist or not, you're part of civilization, you're part of moral, whatever you write, right? Whatever you write, whatever you paint, whatever you represent on stage, as I'm also in front of the opera here in this, which is one of my favorite buildings in the city. Back to Kukai-Chi. Finally, I got that name right. What interests me with Kukai-Chi is really in that painting of the 4th century is really that moral idea that is quite interesting. Moving on to the 12th century. When you move to the 12th century, what interests me in the 12th century is that we're moving to landscape. And I wrote an entire chapter on nature, how to represent nature. And just to give you a rough idea, maybe you remember 1874, the first exhibit of the Impressionists, and the Impressionists decided to go sur le motif, that famous French expression that is now common in every art history school or art school, which is basically you go paint in the river by the beach here or water lilies if you're painting water lilies, to give the famous Monet example. When you're a Chinese master of the 1200s, like this one, my one, I'm showing the example, my one, 1200, which is a landscape with moonlight, that I'm showing right here. That one interests me. Why? Because they don't go draw straight in the mountain. They learn from the old masters, okay? And they learn the idea to paint a mountain, the idea to paint a tree, the idea to paint a bamboo, the idea to paint a rock. I don't remember who said that, but there was an idea saying that, and I think it's an artist who said if you want to paint a bamboo, you have to think so hard that you are the bamboo yourself. So painting is kind of related to some sort of a meditation, and that's why I really, really like this whole idea of Chinese painting. And that's why I use a natural light which just came out this morning to start that video here in Nice. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Cedric. You've been watching Laughing Museums. Do you think, if you want to read more about that, my book on the Louvre, Love Your Way Through the Louvre, is available. My book on history of painting will be probably available in French in January or February, and it will most definitely be in English by spring or by summer, depending on the translator, of course. You guys take care, and don't forget, no matter what you do, if you're not doing it with a smile, well, you're probably doing it wrong.